Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I want to show you how I'm going to be making my gluten-free bread in a bread machine. I have a video on my channel of how I make a gluten-free bread using the oven and a loaf pan, but I got a bread maker to specifically make our own gluten-free bread. We are a gluten-free family of 5. My 5-year-old daughter has celiac disease, so we are gluten-free for medical reasons. And if you've ever had gluten-free food, you know it can be different, and something about the bread, it's been disappointing. Store-bought bread is just really disappointing. It's usually very hard and dry, and it's expensive. It's over $5.50 per loaf, and I have 3 kids, that can get really expensive. So although I think the bread machine is an investment, I will link the one I have down below, I think it's totally worth it, and the bread is so much better. So I'm gonna flip you around, show you what the ingredients are, give you a quick view of the machine I got, and then I'll show you how I get everything in there in under 5 minutes, hit start, and 3 hours later I have fresh gluten-free bread. Alright, so these are the ingredients you will need. You need some type of oil. I use olive oil. Melted butter also works really well. Pretty much any oil you have will work. You need yeast. I will link the recipe down below because I just use Pamela's gluten-free recipe, but this is the exact amount. I think it's 2 1/4 teaspoon, whatever is in here. I'll link the recipe down below. Dough enhancer. This makes it easier for the gluten-free bread to rise because it's missing gluten. Gluten-free bread usually is pretty smaller. This really helps with the rise, and it's also a natural preservative because it keeps it fresher longer. So this is essential in my bread making. I need a measuring cup. I have a bowl because I mixed the flour and the dough enhancer before I put it in my machine, but if you don't have dough enhancer, you can put it directly in your machine. So measuring cups, and this is the bulk gluten-free bread flour I have. This is from the Pamela's. I get it off Amazon when it goes on sale. You can get a 25-pound bag for, I think, like $50, so I stock up whenever that's on sale. And then over here is my machine. So give you a quick look. The KBS, I got this mainly because it has a gluten-free setting, and it was on sale, and there was a coupon, so I spent about $100 on this when I got it, but totally worth it in my mind. It does have all these settings. I have tried different ones like soft bread, whole wheat. I have found that the gluten-free setting works the best because gluten-free bread does not need that extra rise that typical bread does. So I get a better rise if I use the gluten-free setting, and that's what I'm going to use today. You can choose what size loaf you want. I always make a 2-pound loaf because we're a big family. You can choose the crust color, light, medium, or dark. So I'm going to show you the inside real quick. Obviously this comes out. What I really like, and one of the reasons I bought this, is it comes with a fruit and nut dispenser, which just clicks in right here, and you put whatever you want. So my oldest really likes Raisin Bread. One of the main reasons I got this. So I'll pack a cup full of raisins in this little pouch here. I'll stick it on here, and it will drop it into the bread and mix it in when it's time. I don't have to worry about watching the time or putting it in when it needs to. It does it all that self. And obviously this comes out, twist out. So let's get started. All right, so the first step is I'm going to take my 2 eggs. The recipe does say you can use 3 eggs or different things. I've always used 2 eggs with the recipe, and it's worked fine. You can also use flaxseed if you have someone with an egg sensitivity or allergy. I've used flaxseed as well, and it works completely fine. So I'm going to break my eggs in there. I'm going to take 1/3 cup oil, and again, I just use the Costco olive oil. And it can be corn oil, it can be melted butter. I'm going to mix that in really quick. I'm going to fill to the 2-cup line with warm water. Obviously, since you're using yeast, you don't want hot water or it will kill the yeast, but you want it to be warm. You will fill to that 2-cup line. And after the 2-cup line, you're going to do an additional 2 tablespoons of water. Give that a quick mix, and it's going to go directly into my machine now. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is take my bread mix, my bread flour. You need 3 cups. Alright, so I have my 3 cups in there. Now I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon per cup. So since I have 3 cups, I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon per cup. Alright, so I actually have 3.5 cups. So I put 3 1/4 teaspoons with a little bit of extra. And then I just mix it in quickly. And this is, see, it's a powder. Then I will give it a quick mix. Now you could put the flour in there and then put the dough enhancer on top, but I just feel like it incorporates better if you give it a quick mix beforehand. So the next step will be to just put this in the bread machine on top of the liquid ingredients. Alright, so I have my flour on top there, and I'm just going to take my yeast pack, and again, you want to make sure it says gluten-free on there. And I'm just going to make a little hole in the top and just pour that yeast straight in there. And that is it. So that is what it looks like all in the pan. And this is on here. So what I will choose is, obviously, I want gluten-free, which if you look on here, it is number 16. So I hit this button until I hit 16. And then loaf cup size, right now it's on 1.5, so I want it on 2 pounds. Medium is the color of the crust, so medium if you want to change that. There's a button, obviously, for it. So I have a 2-pound loaf. Set it on the gluten-free setting, medium crust color, and it'll take exactly 3 hours. And what's nice about this is it will show you where it is in the cycle. So stirring, resting, stirring, ferment. Now fermenting is the resting, or when it poofs up. So it only has one of those on the cycle, which is really nice. And one trick is, because it has a dough hook on the bottom of it, after the second stir, you can remove the dough hook and it will not leave that hole in the bottom of your bread. So I'll show you how I do that. But that's it. All I have to do now is hit start. It starts stirring. And that's it. That's all I have to do. 3 hours from now, I will have gluten-free bread. So this is fresh out of the oven. And what I do with this is I don't have an actual drying or a cooling off rack, so I just use my Instapot insert over a plate, and that dries it off, or lets it cool down really nicely. So I will show you when it is completely cooled down, but really nice rise, nice color. This is the day after I baked it. I'm getting ready to make sandwiches right now. That's kind of the size. You can see the coloring, and just very moist and squishy. Thanks for watching.